Hello and welcome back to That Is Effin' Weird. I am Stevenson Longbottom, and today we're going to be talking about jousting. You read the title, so let's get right into it. This is a pre-recorded episode, so I have my buddy here named Reed who's going to actually help us with this episode. So sit back, relax, enjoy the soothing sound of Stevenson Longbottom as we take you down this medieval tour. And not only that, but we're also going to be covering a great TV show called Full Metal Jousting. Like I said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Do you need anything before we start? Like, do you need to go to the bathroom, get some water, anything?
I should be all set actually.
Cool. I did the bulk of my research was the actual show Full Metal Jousting. I don't know for you what your area. I know you sent that link to me, but I couldn't get access to it till like 45 minutes ago or whatever.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's totally fine. So I guess just where did you put your efforts into the jousting?
That's awesome. I actually looked at Full Metal Jousting
Yeah.
a little bit, but I
Yep.
spent most of my time looking at like the historical like background to jousting. And then I looked at a couple other things like Renaissance fairs and medieval times and stuff like that regarding jousting too. So I think we spread it out pretty good, but I can definitely talk about Full Metal Jousting too.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, if what you want to do, and you can maybe help me on some of the stuff that I might drop as far as like the show and everything like that. But if you want to handle like the history of it and like some of those facts and like the Renaissance piece, I can handle the TV show part of the episode and everything like that, and then we can just go from there.
That sounds perfect. Yeah.
Cool. So do you want to start? Do you just want to start with that, with like the history of it?
Yeah, actually, do you mind if I start with a childhood story of me jousting with bikes?
No way. Yes, 100%. Please do.
Cool. I'll start with that then, and then we can jump into like the history and all of that stuff, and then get into the actual show.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Oh, wait. If you want to just start going, that's totally fine.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you had like an intro. I misunderstood. It's like...
no, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do the intros and everything like that separately. So let's just go with it. Let's get after it.
Well, perfect. I think I should probably share a childhood jousting story with you.
Yeah.
After I say thank you so much for having me on the show, and thank you for letting me do this with you and talk about something that I feel is truly effing weird.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Like that's part of the again, like I said this in the last episode too, because we covered American Gladiators, but these odd sports and everything is something that I've wanted to cover for the last couple of years, and I'm glad that you're here because maybe you can throw some perspective on this too. Because I was talking to my wife before the show, and I was just like, I asked her, was like, how does something like jousting just kind of like fade away, because it is very like it's a very intense sport. And yeah, it's a couple of seconds of like action and then it stops, but like you could argue that about like modern day sports in general, like very popular ones.
Football.
Yeah, exactly, right? So we can get into that later, but why don't you go ahead and tell me about this childhood jousting story?
Yeah, so it's 2001. A Knight's Tale just came out. We Will Rock You by Queen is being played in over the top of like a medieval knight tale.
Yeah.
You know, and so that
Yep.
was like the coolest thing ever in 2001. And I didn't have a horse, but I did have a bike. And I didn't have opponents, but I did have a sister. And so we would line up maybe like 50 yards apart, go as fast as we could on our bikes, and instead of jousting with sticks, because that would be dangerous, we would use pine cones and try to like toss a pine cone at the other person as you pass.
Yeah.
And then if you hit them, then you win.
Yeah.
The trick was to basically like let go of the pine cone a couple feet in front of your opponent, your sibling, because if you tried to really like get behind it and throw as hard as you could, the pine cone would just whiff off into oblivion. So
Yeah.
yeah, just a little bit of momentum goes a long way, and I'm proud to say that I am the undefeated childhood jousting champion.
I feel like I've seen things online too where like people will have like pool noodles and kind of like do the same thing.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's a very intense sport. And again, kind of like what we were saying, like I don't understand how something like this just fades away and it no longer really is a thing. So
yeah.
you said you did a little bit of the history and you kind of dug into there. Why don't we start there and kind of pick away at that? Maybe we can get some answers and then we can just kind of see where it goes from there. I'm sure I'm gonna have questions and you're gonna throw some insight at me. So yeah, let's get after it.
Let's do it. Why don't we start with like the history of why it kind of faded away first? And
Okay.
then we can get into like the materials and the armor and all like the required stuff for it. And maybe some of that'll come out as we go through the story too. But um, this is actually a story about two Henrys, Henry VIII and King Henry II. Uh, King Henry VIII was like a huge fan of jousting and actually jousted himself and had a training partner that would like actually knock him off his horse pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Which is like, you imagine Henry VIII, like nobody's gonna want to knock that guy off a horse. But
Mm-mm.
if you like didn't go as hard as you possibly could, then that would also look really bad on you that you're trying to baby the king.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, he actually got super injured during this as well, which is started of why we're seeing jousting kind of fade away. His first injury was in 1524, and a dude struck him in the head with a splintered lance. So it had already broken and then snapped up and hit him in the head.
Oh, geez.
That gave him migraines for the rest of his life after that.
Oh my gosh. And it's not like he lived in a time where you can like take some aspirin or like
Exactly.
migraine medication. Like drinking water is the best you can do.
Yeah, have you tried rubbing a dead rat carcass on it? Like
Wait.
it's the worst. No, that's a made-up medicine.
Oh, I was like, no.
No, it was, yeah, terrible time to have medicine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happened in 1524. Then over a decade later, 1536, he actually fell from his horse and was trapped beneath the animal for like 2 hours. And
What?
so, yeah, that crushing injury left him unconscious, and he had like a really bad busted up leg. And so that really started the decrease in popularity. But
Wait, okay.
Henry the
Hold on one
sorry, yeah,
second. So you said that he got trapped under a horse. Was he jousting at the time?
yes, both of these were jousting injuries.
How does like that's very odd that he got stuck. Like, was it just him and one other person that were jousting, and then like the other person couldn't get the horse off of him, or like did the horse die? Like how did the horse just? I guess I don't understand
Yeah,
how he was trapped under the horse for 2 hours.
the horse was like injured and they weren't able to move it.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah, and that's why like with more modern stuff, this is a good segment to like part of the arena, the tilt barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's like the wooden fence that goes between the horses so that they're not able to run into each other or that they're not able to like accidentally catch a lance or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
That makes sense.
yeah, especially more modern ones have like more substantial fences.
Yeah.
Um, some of them were just like rope lines, and it was kind of like on your honor not to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Interesting. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense because I was like, wait, was he just like riding a horse and something happened? He got trapped under there, but no, if the horse got injured as well, that makes sense.
yeah,
And kind of like what you were saying, like compared to like modern day jousting, yeah, like a piece of rope was the barrier. Like, yeah, all right, the horses are going to get injured too, probably.
yeah, and there definitely was penalties for injuring the horses, and sometimes that was like exclusion or disqualification from the tournament.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, with King Henry VIII getting injured a couple times and like really being messed up afterwards, that was the start of the downfall because it's here's a recreational sport that's injuring our kings. That's not a good thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
Henry II, though, was a king of France, and he actually was killed jousting
Oh, no way.
1559.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was injured on the 10th, and he died like several days later, 11 days later, from an infection in his like, periorbital cellulitis, which is the eye and like the eye socket, and then a cerebral abscess or like a brain infection after a splinter wasn't able to be removed. So,
Jeez. So he did he get hit in the head then, or like?
yep. So a small piece of a lance went through his visor and went
Yep.
straight through his eye into his brain cavity.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So even though
Oh.
it was like, you know, safer because you're wearing all the right armor, you have the tilt barrier, the lances are specially made. It's still not like a perfectly safe sport for these kings to be doing.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So Henry II died at age 40, and this basically effectively ended the whole jousting era. And actually, like his death contributed to the French Wars of Religion because his death destabilized the area so much that kind of led to that.
Really?
Yeah, so jousting's responsible for world history.
Hey, look at that. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
That so like again, like we were talking a little bit before the show, and I'll get into my part where I covered the Full Metal Jousting, the show and everything. But when you say that like a piece of that splinter like went through the visor, like the TV show,
Yeah.
they still have like for their helmets that they wear in the TV show, they had, I would say it it definitely
It's
has
like
eye
Iron Man.
holes. Yeah, it looks like Iron Man, but I'm surprised that because of that story and like how prominent that is, that they didn't have like some sort of like plexiglass or like just something
Yeah.
over
Home
the
Depot,
eye.
Home Depot goggles or something.
Yeah, just something to like, because that's crazy because in the show too, like they do bust up the poles and everything, so that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, that's a good segue to talk about the lances because they are specifically designed historically and for the show for safety. Um,
Yep. Yep.
so historically, they were actually way longer. They were like
Oh,
10 to 15 feet in length. Um,
jeez.
yeah, now like I think they're close to like 6 to 9 feet is more modern. And full metal jousting, I think, is like a 9 foot one, so a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Um, the ends were split into 3 points, almost like an offset fork, like a triangular fork. um, that way it could grip onto the shield, and then each one of those impact points explodes the lance on impact in theory.
Okay.
They were originally implements of war, like weapons, instead of like something that you just ride at each other and bash into each other.
Yeah.
And so the war lances were actually closer to the 15-foot length and had a steel point on them.
That makes a little bit more sense because I mean like you want to be further from the enemy too, and this was at a point in time where like you're still fighting with swords and everything.
Yeah,
So the 15-foot one seems like reasonable, like okay, but I still feel like because I mean like I think we've all held like a large stick in our life. I can't
yeah,
imagine riding on a horse trying to like keep it balanced because again the
yeah,
TV show, they when they use the slow motion camera and everything like that, the thing is just like it looks like they're struggling. I mean even with a 9-foot one, yeah, it looks like they're having a hard time holding it, so I can't imagine having like almost double that length now,
yeah,
and now you're trying to like kill somebody with it and everything. I mean I don't know. Maybe it was a little bit different because you're just kind of like pointing it at the ground. I don't know if they like. Did you in your research
yeah.
when they were using it for like an instrument of war? were the other jousters looking for other people on horses, or was it really that they were like trying to get like ground people or ground soldiers or whatever with their poles?
Yeah, no, so they would be like classified as heavy cavalry. And
Mm-hmm.
so the heavy cavalry with the lance, um, they were like devastating against the unarmed, like I can't think of the name, the conscript soldiers, like
Yeah.
um, the guys that were just had arming swords.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
like absolutely devastating. It's kind of like the rock paper scissor kind of thing. Like they can and did go against other heavy cavalry, but
Mm.
you really win the fight when you're sending armored knights into just like a column of dudes
Yeah.
with
Oh,
pitchforks and whatever else they brought, you know?
I that that era of like war fighting is just like I think about that sometimes, and like I'll get tired, just going up a flight of stairs sometimes, and like
Right.
I can't imagine like fighting somebody like I don't know for an hour or two, like maybe not like one person, but like running after people, like I don't know,
Yeah.
just the whole hand-to-hand combat with swords and everything. I can't imagine. But then again, too, a lot of the stuff that I've watched is again from movies. So is it exactly like what it is? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe because yeah, I just feel like I can't imagine. I think this would be the worst feeling in the world, right? Is that you're fighting somebody, and then you kill them or you win against them, and then you're like, ah, finally. And then someone just comes up behind you and just stabs you. And you're like, no, gosh, I just fought that guy for an hour. No.
But
Because
I
that's
worked
what I
so
feel.
hard.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like that's what it would be like. So I feel it's just terrifying. I'm
Yeah.
glad. But then again, I mean, I guess you could look at it like the same way. Like, people are like, all right, I wouldn't want to live in a time where, missiles are falling from the sky or rockets are, you pick your poison, but I still
Yeah.
think it'd be, pretty scary just fighting someone with a sword.
I
So
do too, because you're like looking them in the eye and like
yeah, yeah,
Stevenson, do you know that meme where it's like, what are you thinking about? And it's the guy's brain and he's like thinking about ancient Rome. That's basically what we're doing a little bit with this. Is like
can you?
we're getting to imagine and like think back and be the meme, thinking about medieval warfare.
I have not seen that meme. If you do find it, um,
Yeah,
if you want to throw it in the podcast photos or weird things across the internet,
yeah,
in the server, feel free. I'd like to see that meme. But
yeah. I'll try to
oh,
track it down here. You bring up a good point about getting tired, and I have good news for you. Is
mhm.
usually the knights only brought one lance to battle. And so it was
Oh,
just for that first charge, and that's why they usually had like a sword or sidearm, usually like a hammer or axe or something too.
a hammer.
Yeah,
Right.
and right. And
Uh,
have you seen war hammers before? They're like basically spikes on one side, and
yeah,
then like a ball peen on the other.
yeah, yeah.
So
No, no, thanks.
yeah, and a lot of this was developed for like war where everybody's wearing giant steel armor. Uh, Last piece of like history facts. The armor was actually really specialized for jousting too. And
Okay.
so you kind of see it in Full Metal Jousting, where they have this special neck guard and then they have a shield that sits on their shoulder.
Yep.
Um, it was often like super reinforced armor, and it was a special armored saddle so that the knight's legs were protected. But usually, like the upper torso was meant to kind of be like a neck brace too, so that you don't pop your head off.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like
Yep.
see like this is again, I bring up the thing where it's like it if more people were to like realize like how dangerous this sport and how intense it is and just like it's like I personally it's I feel like it's almost like bull riding where it's like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, people ride bulls whatever. But once you go to like the arena and you're just like you see how big these bulls are, it's like no way do I want to get on that thing. And it's just like
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same thing kind of like with this where it's like holy cow, like I can die because I get a splinter in my eye from like a joust, like a pole, or like
Yeah.
like I can't imagine how heavy all of that armor is because again in like the TV show when they do get knocked off, it's not like they get up like all willy nilly, kind of like what you had said. It looks like they're like Iron Man, like they have trouble getting up, and
Yeah.
it's got to be heavy. I'm not sure. Oh, they didn't say like how much everything weighs. Were you able to find that like how much all the armor and like what it would weigh?
I I didn't have it right in front of me.
Hmm.
It's funny. My wife, who's our producer for our show, is looking it up for us so that we can see what it looks like.
Perfect.
I was going to guess about 100 pounds, and it sounds like jousting armor was about 70 to 100 pounds, depending on how big it was and how reinforced it was. So, like, imagine like a big kid strapped to your chest, and you're trying to stand up off the ground after you just got your lights knocked out by
Oh
another
my
knight.
gosh. I mean, I would I'm trying to think like the modern soldier because I know they wear like armor, but again, like I can't imagine that it weighs too much, but then like the weapon that they're holding and then the ammo,
Yeah,
obviously like it's not they don't have like armor, like metal armor on their arms and their legs, but I'm wondering if it's like I don't think it's anywhere close to 70 pounds or
great. I actually
anything.
know this one. I've got a bunch of buddies that are actually in reserves and ruck a lot.
Oh,
It's
really? Okay.
actually close to like 80 pounds, depending on what they're carrying and what
No
year.
way.
But that's all like on a load bearing backpack system versus
True.
like you said, strapped to your arms and legs and part of your body. So I
I
don't know which would be easier.
I was gonna say, like, what in your mind, what do you think would be like, what would be, because like the weight then is all just distributed like between everything. It's not in
Yeah,
one like single point, or it's not like on your back or anything like that. But then again, you just feel heavy. Yeah, it's not like at one point, but you feel heavy. Whereas
yeah.
like the backpack or something like that, like, all right, I can still move my arms, I can still move my leg, but just something's kind of like pulling me back, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what would be worse.
You know what we need to do is we need
Mm.
to have like full rucked out Marines charge
Mm.
at each other with sticks so we can figure this out.
All right. Well, if any of our listeners are yeah, in the military, Marines, let's get that rolling. Let's see if what we can have happen.
I love that. So
Oh,
yeah, that's kind of I guess the backdrop of where this is coming from,
okay.
and yeah, it made a really cool show on the History Channel. Should that be our segue over to what that looked like?
Yeah, yeah, sure, why not? So a couple of things that like I found out, so right off the bat, kind of like what you had said, there's kind of like the whole like the barriers and like the armor and everything like that. A lot of things had changed from like that time period to now. There's a lot of safety measures put in for modern day jousting. Like you had stated before, the barrier between the two horses and like the two jousters, that is made out of typically wood now, and there's like three kind of segments to it. So each rider has like a 40-foot like red barrier or like area where like you can't be touched. And then there's like I don't know what the white space is where like that's the area where you can engage the other jouster. I don't know if it's another 40 feet or I don't know the dimensions exactly. But that is like the area in which you can engage the jouster. Um, the the actual armor itself and like how you score points is kind of designed to try to keep the jouster as safe as possible. Now, again,
Yeah,
the area in which you're trying to get points or where you're trying to hit the jouster, it's still up near the head, but it's more like at like again, it's the shoulder area. Apparently what is it? It's I can't remember if if it's a specific name. I think it is, but the Germans created the area on the left shoulder. It's like a
like the
square
mini
pan.
shield.
Yeah, yeah, where like that is where you need to, or like that's where you're trying to hit the your opponent, right? And how it works is, at least in the show, the Full Metal Jousting, I don't know if there's different variants of scoring and how everything works, but in the show Full Metal Jousting, if you touch that plate, it's a point. If you break a stick, so you have to, like, that is where you have to hit the other opponent, right? If you hit that spot and the pole breaks, that's 5 points. And then if you hit that spot and knock the other person off, that's 10 points.
Gotcha.
It sounded like in the TV show, the host and the person who, like, maybe was like one of the producers or the guy who talks a lot on the show, right? He had said that he stated that one of the rules that he has is that you have to let go of the horse ring before you engage the other person. And I think that's for safety for the horse and then also the jouster. Because I feel like if you were to hold on to that ring, you could then pull the horse back if you know, like, if you get hit off the horse or whatever, like, you're then now pulling the horse. Whereas, like, okay, if you let go of it and you get hit, you're just gonna fly back. You're not gonna, you know, hurt. You're not gonna get more injured, I guess. Nothing is like keeping your momentum moving forward.
Yeah, and you're not going to pull a horse on top of you and end up like Henry VIII.
Exactly, and I feel like that might be like a precursor as to why. I don't know, maybe he got hurt, or me, you know, again, it was his TV show possibly, so he
Right.
can, you know, make up the rules as he goes. There's something called a tip to tip. So if the two tips of the poles hit each other, you would have to do a redo or like a rerun of that I guess what that rerun. I don't know what you would call
That
it
match,
of the
I don't know.
yeah, of that match. Thanks.
That tilt.
Um, yes, yeah, and there's he was describing it as, there's like, okay, that's the like the three ways that you score points, but there's more ways to get penalties than to get points. So if
Right.
you hit the person in the head or like below the waist, that's -5 points. If you hold on, like what I said, if you hold on to that ring and you hit the person, but they notice that, yeah, like you said, or I said, that if you're holding on to it, that's -5 points. If you do it again, you're disqualified.
Okay.
So there's those penalties. I think there was one more. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I know he said something like about sweeping the joust or the lance, like you couldn't like swing it into somebody.
Oh, maybe, yeah, yeah. I think that might have been one of them as well. There definitely is a technique. I rewatched a later episode. I think it was like episode 7. I was trying to find an earlier episode to kind of like really get a feel for like the rules and how everything is done.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find anything. I'd watched this show like a year or two ago, and now I can't find it anymore. But there is like half an episode on YouTube, so I watched it. But yeah, they definitely, I feel like in the first couple episodes, they really harped on like the technique, because it's not just running at somebody, or you're not just riding a horse, and there really is like a sweeping of the body. There's like, you have to keep the pole up for a certain period of time and then like let it drop. There's a very like, you know, special technique and a way to do this. In the episode that I had watched, it seemed like one of the riders was still having troubles like controlling the pole, and that's kind of like what I had said at like when you were talking about like that 15-foot pole for war.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine, like, they're having troubles with that 9-foot pole. A 15-foot pole would be insane. So
Well, just even given like going off of that, giving perspective, the horse is at 3/4 pace, and so it's going like 25 miles per hour. Towards another horse bouncing along at 25 miles per hour, while that guy's got a pointy stick pointing at you, and you have yours, and you have to somehow try to make everything connect. Like that's pretty impressive.
it really is. And again, all right, we're gonna talk about this because I feel like we keep circling back to it. Why do you think that jousting is no longer a thing? We'll get back into the full
Yeah.
metal jousting. I'll talk about that, but let's try to dissect this because we keep coming back to it. Why do you think it's no longer a thing?
I think it's no longer a thing because it is too much of a true combat sport. Like you see that with boxing and like bare knuckle boxing. Like that goes illegal because people get really really hurt. Um, I think the same thing with like actual jousting that's not at medieval times or Renaissance fairs or like for show is just too dangerous to not be making enough money to have a career-ending injury. Like football has that. It's kind of like a simulated combat thing, but jousting, there's not enough money in it to have people risk their bodies like that.
That's true. Give me 2 seconds. I need to take off my sweatshirt.
No problem.
I would so it's yes, like when you say like the bare knuckle boxing and everything, it's like okay, yeah, there's not anything like people aren't doing that, but like look at the UFC, like
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
like people are getting like I don't know, like really fucked up because of it. And like even boxing, like you look at boxers who
Yeah.
like their brains are just like jello right now because of the amount of times that they're getting hit in the head. Like that is not good for people. Um I don't know. I don't know what it could be as far as
What about
it.
horse cost as like a barrier to entry for this too? Because you look at like
Oh,
race
yeah,
horses or rodeo horses, a good, barrel racing horse for a very amateur level could be $20,000.
that's true. That's very true. So
Yeah.
it's because to like again like to box or for UFC you you just need a pair of gloves and some shorts and maybe a mouth guard. Yeah, that's really it as far as the person who wants to do it. But yeah, if you want to joust, you're looking at unless you're getting sponsored by someone or maybe if like
A big
you're
joust.
yeah, like it's gonna cost you a lot to do all that. And again, breaking the poles, like
Yeah.
you're gonna go through poles like crazy. Like that's I feel like that's something where I don't know how much it would cost to make something like that. But like in the
Yeah.
TV show, yeah, they go through them quite often. Um, yeah, it's I don't know. I find it fascinating that
So I
that's
guess going
some
off of that too, Stevenson, is like, how do you think the guys that were on Full Metal Jousting trained for this? Like, how do you think, did they just have a workshop with the show, you wonder, or do you think they were already jousting knights before they got
well
approached for this?
okay. Well, so in some of the research that I did, I found like some key people in like the cast, right? So the host Sean Adams, he was a real life jousting expert. Like he did this stuff like through and through. I don't know. I didn't do that much research into like his full life and everything like
Right.
that, but he did have years of experience working with horses, probably um, doing Renaissance things, reenacting. Because a lot of the contestants, military veterans, MMA fighters, rodeo riders, horse trainers, stunt professionals, um, let's see here. Yeah, so I feel like the people that they picked for the show, uh, where do I have it? There was a segment I have it written down. Like there was a prerequisites for even like being on the show. Like you had to have some years or some knowledge of like riding horses,
Okay.
um, doing things like that. So it wasn't just like any Joe Schmo could get on the horses and everything like that. Like you had to know how to do this stuff. And a lot of the like the episode that I'd watched for this, a lot of them had jousting, like theatrical jousting, as
Okay.
like what they did for a living. And I can only assume that that means like okay, they do Renaissance fairs, things of that sort. Let's see here. Jousting today. So modern jousting, there's the practice in competitive leagues, seen at Renaissance fairs and events. Yep, theatrical jousting, which is scripted and safer, but then the competition stuff is like real scoring like the show. So Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where, yeah, definitely for the show they had to have prior knowledge or prior experience. Again, like you had to have that as a prereq. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Well, here's a question for you. If, because, let's say hypothetically in the future, your kid comes to you and is like, Dad, I want to be a professional jouster. Like with that level of training, are you hoping like what's one sport that you would rather them do than jousting, and what's one sport that where you're like, please just take up jousting versus doing this? Do you have any of those?
All right. So the first question was if my child comes up to me and says that they want to do jousting, what is an alternate sport that I would want them to do?
Yeah, like you'd rather them do this sport instead.
I would say, you see, it's so weird because like as like before having kids and everything like that, and like even being a child, like you don't think about it. Like you want to play football, you want to play
Yeah.
hockey, you want to do all these like contact sports, but then being as a parent, I want my child to be safe. So it's
Yeah.
like anything where someone's not hitting you or you're getting hurt. Do any of those sports, figure skating,
Racket
I
sports
don't.
are phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know. It's again almost like kind of like what you're talking about. Like this is an expensive thing too. Like
Yeah.
I don't have the finances to buy a horse and like a million poles and everything like that.
Well, in kids growing up, you're gonna have to get bigger jousting armor. It's just a
Yeah,
whole thing.
I don't. Oh, I don't know. I would say anything. Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Any non-contact sport, I think I'd be okay with. But
Now,
but
the
here's the
harder question.
yeah, go for it.
The harder question is the reverse, where your kid comes to you and is like, Dad, I want to be a jouster. Or no, Dad, I want to do this other sport. And you're like, oh, please just do jousting instead.
I would I would say if they would want to. Oh man, this is tough. I would say if they wanted to like work at like an alligator farm and like put their head in the jaws of an alligator, I'd be like, can you just do jousting instead? Like, can you
Yeah.
not do? I don't know if like the alligator thing is like technically a sport, but I don't know
I'm,
that. Yeah.
I'm sure they have a league in Florida.
What about for you? I guess
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah. So as a dad myself, I'm with you. I think even football would be less impacty than any of the jousting that I've seen.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'd say anything less contact than football would definitely be safer. But on the flip side, anything from Harry Potter, like the wizarding games and
Mm,
Quidditch, like
yes.
my kids are fragile, uncoordinated beings, and I can't imagine them like 500 feet on a, up in the air trying to catch a little gold ball. That would be the worst.
Uh,
I'm sorry for taking us down that digression, but I had to ask.
no, that's perfect. Because again, I think that's one of those things where you don't really think about it till you think about it, and you always hear like, okay, what sport or what would you try to have them do besides like X, Y, and Z, but I've never had the question reversed where it's like, okay, what's an extreme thing where you're like, okay, hey, just please do jousting instead. Don't don't do
Yeah,
the other thing.
Dad, I'm gonna start skydiving with a wingsuit. Maybe pick up jousting. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe because you don't. Oh, I don't know. That's a tough
It's
one.
tough because these guys are badasses. I'm not gonna lie. Like watching them take the hits, even though they're all armored up, even though they have like the full face mask and are looking like Iron Man. That would suck to be your job and like, oh, sorry, I didn't have film in the camera. Could you run it again? Like you're
Well,
doing this for a TV show?
so like actually, that's a good. I'm glad you brought that up because I have here like the injuries and the dangers of the show. So, um, that's why the show didn't last as long as it did. It was only on for one season, 10 episodes, right?
Yeah.
but the documented injuries were concussions. At least one contestant returned after one. But I'm guessing that there was multiple concussions because it says it has an S at the end of it. So I can only imagine that multiple people had concussions. And I will say,
least two.
Yeah, at least two. And the show itself was only shot in 38 days. So, yeah, so this was something where, like, probably for 4 weeks straight, it's just like, get hit, get back on the horse, get hit, get back on the horse. And again, kind of like what you had said, this is TV. So this is something where, like, if the shot's not right, or you did something, or, like, you know, yada yada, the show is there to make money. The people who invested into the show, they want the best shots, they want, like, you know, drama, the yada yada. If they like seeing people getting blown off the horses, like, all right, hey, send them back on. Like, they're gonna get their money shot. And that's, I think I had said that about last week's episode about the American Gladiators too, where in that show, they did them dirty, where, like, they did not have, I could be saying this wrong, but it was like virtually no insurance, or like they were just in exact same thing. They were shooting multiple episodes in one day. So the gladiators were getting beat down by these fresh contestants day, like hour after hour after hour, just like, you know, it was intense. So I feel like kind of like what the gladiators were going through is kind of like what the contestants might have gone through with this, where it's like, you know, they might be dog shit tired, but based on the contract, because I'm sure that each one of the contestants signed a contract saying, like, hey, you will get back up on this horse if the, you know, something, like, if it's not the right shot, or, you know, there's always those weird little clauses in there. So I can only imagine it'd be really interesting to see if there's a, like, not like a reunion, but like a contestant tells like all, or so.
Well, and the guys that they selected are going to be pretty competitive with each other, so you have that peer group. Like, I'm not going to be outdone by the cowboy if I'm like this professional jouster, you know.
That's true. You
gotta dust yourself off and put your broken collarbone back together.
Put your shoulder back into place. I think that's another thing too, is like you're getting hit in the same spot over and over. Like, I don't know if, like, I would imagine that like area must have like a little bit more padding, but still, like, you're not switching up the, like, where that armor plate is. You're getting hit in that same spot. So yeah, almost like if you pop your shoulder out, or if you have a shoulder injury on, like, on that side, you're done. Like, you're not going to keep on going. There are a few more things. There was hospitalizations during training, muscle tears and withdrawals, frequent bruising, and high impact collisions. Obviously, they were going at like 30 to 40 mile an hour on the horse in that short distance. But yeah, I'm guessing that's why it even said here that, like, that's one of the downfalls of the show, is like there was just a lot of injuries. So I can only imagine that, like, the insurance for the show, like, I'm guessing they didn't break, like, they probably broke even, or like barely made any money on the show, and that's why they didn't get greenlit for a season 2.
Yeah, I believe it, especially if they're having to, like, pay for all the. Did you say withdrawals was part of the show listed medical stuff?
I think it was like, it says muscle tears and withdrawals. I don't know if that's meaning like they, like, withdrew from the TV show. Like, I don't know if there was, like, before the show even, like, aired, or like during airing there was a couple other contestants and they're like, oh, this is just too much and I'm done. I'm sure that's what it means. I'm sure there wasn't, like, druggies on the show, or like, I need my fix, or anything like that.
Dude, if I was getting knocked off a horse, I'd be like, listen, I need a drink.
Right. Well, it's funny that you say that too, because it's really interesting. I really do like watching it's like a love-hate relationship. Usually, like, reality TV shows like this, the first, like, 1 or 2 seasons are always the best, because it's right before like they really start cracking down like on a lot of rules and like a lot of other things. Because if you looked at fuck, what was it called? What was the show? I think it was
Well,
called
Fear Factor was like that.
Fear Factor, and there was another one where it was UFC, but it was, I think it was called Tap Out.
Okay, yeah, there was that one, and Ultimate Fighter was another one.
Ultimate Fighter, I think that's what it was. But like the first two seasons, or like the first couple of seasons, like they let the contestants drink, and like they kept them all in like the same house with no TV or internet or anything like that. So you have all of these fighters just all jacked up, getting drunk, and then like I think one of them like ripped a door off in like one of the first seasons, like trying to get to like another fighter, and then like the seasons after that, they're like, all right, well, let's separate like the two fighters, like, you know, and just
That's
like
amazing.
yeah.
That show is so perfect, and I'm just imagining now, like, hi, welcome to Joust House. And there's people like charging their war horses through the living room.
Oh, speaking of that, another like crazy thing that happened on the show, and I think he like the host or whatever said like this tagline or whatever like after the incident or whatever, but one of the contestants like punched a horse in the face.
What?
Yes, yeah, and I was like, no wait, no way, because I saw that as like one of the highlight clips on YouTube was like this person gets kicked off the show, and I watched it, and they didn't say what happened. They just bring the guy in, they're like, I can't believe you did that, yada yada, and the guy was like, what did I do wrong? He's like, I'm not gonna apologize for doing it, and I was like, what did he do? What? And the next video, like after I watched it, was like a 20-second clip of the guy. You're in our server, right? Like you can see.
Yeah.
Okay, let me. Okay, Full Metal.
I'm just imagining like this is a Red Dead moment where you're accidentally trying to feed the horse a turnip and then you punch your horse by accident.
No, like this was not by accident by any means. This contestant meant to do this. It's going to be
a terrible person punching horses. Like that is a CV maker for like who you are.
Okay, all right. So you have you're in. Can you see the weird things across the internet?
I'm gonna pull that up here. Watch it.
Yeah, I dropped it in there. You tell me what you think.
What? What? Had to get him off of his foot. That clip speaks for itself. Don't punch a horse in the head. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, right? So, okay, all right. Let me tell you this, like, or let me ask you like this. All right, audience members, and like, all right, no judgment. I'm like, whatever. Do you think he was justified? Now, really think about this. Like, do you think he was justified by punching the horse in the face because the horse was I don't know if the horse was on his foot or if it like was about to step on his foot. What do you think?
I think we need to give a fair estimate to your audience too. Like this was a Super Mario, like trying to bust a block above you kind of punch. Like he's jumping and like driving his fist into the horse's head.
Yeah.
That was the response to like, look, he was stepping on my foot, because he has a nice little accent too. That was crazy.
Go. Yeah. What do you think?
I think if that horse owed him money, probably justified.
I like, so when I told my wife about this clip and everything like that, she's like, well, the horses weigh like 1,000 pounds. And I was like, you're right. Like 1,000 pounds coming down on your, like if you get kicked by a horse, you can die.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, okay. Like I understand, like you want the horse, like his justification was like, I needed to get the horse off my foot fast, which got it. That makes sense. Understandable. I don't think he needed to punch the horse in the face though. Like, especially like with those horses, they feel like they're well trained to where you could have maybe like pushed maybe like up on the head, or like, I don't know, did something else. I don't think a punch to the face to a horse is
Yeah,
smart. I don't know. That's just me.
I 100% agree with you. And actually, like speaking from experience from going to one of the little like pony places where it's like, oh, we have all these wonderful horses. Gather around, children, and we'll ride around this pasture. And it was great. But as they're bringing the horse out, it stood on my foot, and that, 1,000+ pounds of animal is spread out over the 4 feet. So it didn't feel good. Like I was a child in boots, but like I survived. I didn't have to punch him in the head. So
Mhm.
I'm with you. Definitely not needed to punch a horse in the head unless it owes you money.
Yeah. And like, and for the audience members too listening, like if you want to go to YouTube and check out the clip, you just type in Full Metal Jousting punch or horse punched in the face. You'll see the clip. It's 20 seconds, but that's actually one of the things on here too, is like kind of the controversies and scandals. The contestant's name was Landon Morris. And he was removed from the show, like kind of like what I had
Yeah.
said. I watched, it was like a minute 30 clip or whatever. He was, the host said, no tolerance for, hurting the animals in any sort of way. So,
Yep.
and they even said on the before the show too, like there is like huge concerns for like the safety for the animals and like all of that, and even like when they're actually jousting, the animals have like armor on themselves too. So that was kind of interesting to see.
What do you think like the PETA perspective is? Because going back in time, this came out in
Mm.
2012.
Yep.
That was pretty strong PETA messaging era. How did this show even get made in your estimation?
I, well, so okay, the show's location, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it too, but the show was located, let's see here, it was filmed on at Providence Hill Farm in Jackson, Mississippi. So I don't know if PETA had a strong presence in Mississippi. Like I feel
Yeah,
like, like, and also one of these too, like if it's kind of like out in the middle of nowhere, and if this again, like season one, nobody knows that this filming is even going on.
yeah,
Like I could see like, first couple seasons PETA's not catching wind of this, but if this show would have kept going, you might have seen like a couple of people like running onto the farm with like, the signs and all of that stuff, trying to let the horses free. Oh, did you see, or have you seen that video of um I don't know if it's PETA, but it's some sort of animal rights activist groups like taking a bunch of dogs from like a farm?
no, I haven't. I haven't seen it.
I wish I don't know if I saved it or not, but it's kind of it's sad. It really is,
Isn't
because
that kind of where we're supposed to send dogs? Like that's their version of heaven. Is like, oh, he's on the farm.
yeah, well, I don't think this is that kind of farm.
No, no, no. But what I'm saying is like that's supposed to be heaven for dogs, and they're like taking dogs away.
Yeah, well, all right. So if it's these, I think it's like a beagle like breeding farm. I don't
Okay,
know, but it's one of those things where it's like mistreatment to the animals is happening, right?
okay.
And these activist groups like go in and they steal a bunch of these beagles, or a bunch of these dogs. I think it's beagles. Um,
I totally
and
misread that situation. I imagined like a happy farm with beagles and animals like all playing
no,
together, and PETA comes in and is like, "We're liberating you."
no, no,
That's
no,
what I.
no.
No.
This is like
Okay,
they're mass
they're actually the good
producing.
guys.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing about it too, right? Is that like the owner calls the cops, and then the cops like are telling like the animal rights people that, hey, you need to give the dogs back. And then the people are like, you do the right thing, like these dogs are being mistreated and like all this. I don't know the whole story, but it's one of those weird situations. And just like what you had said, like PETA and everything like that, that just jogged my memory with that clip and
Yeah,
everything. But yeah, I think for the show itself, though, I think they really do take into consideration, and even the host himself, like as soon as that guy punched the horse, he's like, you're done.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big thing with it, like keep the horses, happy, well fed and everything like that. And like even the stable that they had there, it was huge. And like I feel like the horses got treated very, very well. And that's kind of nice to see and everything.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
think with a lot of horse sports, there's like a partnership between the rider and the horse, and
Hmm.
you can definitely see that. That guy that punched a horse definitely was not digging the whole horse situation. But why do you think they left that scene in? Was it like a message like this is not tolerated, or it makes good TV, or
I
yeah,
I think it has a little bit to do with both. I think it makes for like drama, good TV, and kind of like look at your initial reaction when I told you that. Like you were
yeah,
like, "Whoa, no."
salacious.
Yeah, like no way. Like I got to see this. So I think it is one of those like shock and awe things where that was the money shot. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
nice that the horse got punched, but we leave it in. People tell other people they're going to draw them to the show, yada yada. I think it was a very good technique on the people trying to make money. Like, all right, hey, let's leave this in here, but then also too they followed it up with, look, we won't let that to happen again. The person who did that, we kicked them off the show. We take very good care of the animals here, like their safety and everything like that. So I think it was a win-win, and that's why they kept it in. Like I don't
yeah,
think they wanted it to happen, but because of it, they were able to be like, "Yo, we take really good care of our horses and our animals here. It's very professional." But then also too, like that was a very like, holy cow, I did not see that coming.
yeah. I
So,
I, I think that with reality TV, like the salacious factor is part of why we get sucked into it. I think that's why like the scripted jousting is also still pretty popular at Renaissance fairs and medieval times. But have you ever been to one of those like Renaissance fair or medieval times shows?
I I have, but I was very young. I think I was still in grade school because I remember getting like a little wooden shield and sword. Um, but I don't remember much about it. I would love to go to one now and just
Yeah.
experience it. Like I watched the movie Cable Guy with Jim Carrey probably like
Yes.
once or twice a year, and that scene where him and Matthew Broderick are fighting and everything like that, like they joust and everything. Like it
Yeah.
just seems like it would be a really really fun time to go do something like that.
A buddy of mine actually just took his family there, and it very much is still that. It's like the four corners, and wherever you're sitting is like the color of night you're cheering for. So it's very like professional wrestler. Like, oh, the Black Knight's always the bad guy, and like the Yellow Knight comes rolling in, and it's yeah. They give them all like creative names and different armors so that you can tell they characterize it a lot. Um,
I gotta see if there's something like that around here where I live. If or I would be willing to travel. I would say 2 to 3 hours. I'm gonna look at
yes.
like in a bubble around that. At 4 hours, but like I would drive 3 hours to go see something like this. I think I'd be down.
Yeah. I've been a couple of years ago. One of my buddies that helped me found the Most Millennial podcast. He and I went to a Renaissance fair and watched the jousting, and they do it the same way as medieval times. Like it's very much you cheer for your knight and you boo for the other one, and they try to get you in on the show just as much as the actors. It's really cool.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm definitely gonna have to look into it and see if there is anything. But yeah, the TV show itself, it was only on for one season, 10 episodes. It was a very interesting episode and like TV show. Something that Tristan, he was on last week and he was helping me with the American Gladiators episode. And I had asked him kind of the same question, like why did a show like that? Again, that show was on for I believe like 7 or 8 seasons. And I think some of the research that I found was that it just kind of got old after a while. It was like the same routine over and over and over again.
Yeah.
This show, or yeah, again, this show only lasted for one season, but do you think people would have gotten fatigue from this show as well, or do you think this, if it did well, do you think people would still, be interested in it? Because kind of like it is one of those things where it's like, oh, that's my rider, like I love that guy, he always knocks people off the horse type thing. I
Yeah.
feel like it could be really that.
I think it could if it's like if they try to do it like Survivor or something where it's an all new cast each
Ooh,
season and like,
yeah,
oh, there's a surprise night and guess what? It's the winner from last season. Like they could maybe milk it that way, but it's hard to see like you were mentioning, it's guys getting knocked off a horse over and over and over. How do you make that novel to the American audience? I don't know.
I almost think if it was, and don't get me wrong, like getting knocked off a horse at 30 miles an hour, the last thing that you're going to want to do is like get up and like fight somebody. But if they added like something more to it where it's like, all right, like as soon as you get knocked off, you have to shed your armor, and now like you do hand-to-hand combat with someone, or now you have to like go run a mile and like do all these other tasks. It might have, like, because
Yeah,
like look at the show like American Ninja Warrior, or just Ninja Warrior in general, like where they do the obstacle course, right?
yeah.
Like how did that show itself, like it stayed like pretty much the same thing. It was just people going through an obstacle course. Like how were people so intrigued with that
Yeah.
as compared to like something like this? Because again, it's like, all right, people climbing a ladder, like woo, like how, I don't understand. Like again, it's just so weird to me how some things can stick and then other things just fade away.
I think it's you bring up a really good point. Like the thing with Ninja Warrior is you fell in love with the personalities and the stories that were presented to you. Like this person just needs this winning so that they can help their mom buy a house. And it's like you get very invested in the people
Yeah.
versus I think Full Metal Jousting, everybody's armor looks pretty similar when they were actually like visor down, if not
Yeah.
identical. Like there was a little color variation, but like it's hard to tell them apart. And I think that's what medieval times and the theatrical ones do really well is now you're looking at very visually distinct jousters, and that allows you to kind of carry the story a little bit further than just like two guys running at each other.
Well, two things, right? Is that I feel like if they wanted to like personalize like the Full Metal Jousting too, right? Is like allow them to like customize their helmet. Like what type of like, do they
Yeah,
want feathers on top of it, or do they want to ride with like a cape or something like that? Like make it very kind of like unique to the person. So it's like, yeah, that's my rider. That's the guy that I always go for because he's really good. But
yeah,
like you look at American Ninja Warrior 2, and I was just thinking about this as you were talking, is like they can change up the obstacles. Like I don't
yeah.
think it's always the same. I think yeah, they do reuse some of the same obstacle things, but like I
There's
think
always a twist.
yeah, or like this season like they added one more step, or like there's this obstacle. So like you don't know what's coming. Yes, it's going to be an obstacle course because obviously that's the show, but there might be like a very challenging piece where I think like one of them is like they have to, it's not monkey bars, it's like circles drilled into the ceiling. It's like a light bulb, only it's like, metal, obviously. And they have to hold on to those, but it's like barely enough to like grab onto. And my hands are sweating just thinking about it. So I don't know how they're able to like grip that. So again, like that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Well, as you're describing that, like both of the sports I encouraged my potential jouster child to avoid were height sports.
yeah.
I think that would be another one where I'd be like, no, please choose jousting.
Wait, so you're saying you would rather have your child do jousting than the American Ninja Warrior?
Uh, as I think about it again, probably not, but they are super uncoordinated. I'd have to see how they do that.
Well, that's good then. They'll always fail at the very first obstacle, and then you have nothing to worry about.
Exactly. Like You tripped when he said go. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, we'll come to
Uh,
next week's tournament at 5 in the morning on a Saturday.
yeah, yeah, right.
No,
But that's go ahead, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I think you bring up a good point that they kind of explored the depths of jousting as it is, and to make it a multi-season event, they would have had to add something else. But do you think that they could bring the show back? Do you think they could do like a 2026 jousting show?
I I think they could. Well, so crazy that you say that because they're bringing back American Gladiator. They tried to in 2018. It was only on for like a season, then it went away, and now they're trying to bring it back again. So I'm not gonna
No
say
way.
that it's yeah. It's I think actually in this month it comes out. I don't remember the exact day, but in April it's supposed to come out. I'll try to find it. But yeah, there I always think that there's a possibility, but again, the insurance and like the just the logistics and how much it costs, I'm sure, like again, we talked about the injuries. It You would have to find a way to bring it back, but also, keep it interesting. Now, if like it would be now this would be interesting, right? Is that if a part of the scoring thing was that if you didn't hit the other jouster, you continue down and then you go to like a circle arena still on your horse, but now you pull out a sword and you try to
Mm,
wrestle the other person off like their horse. But again, that then you're coming into the safety with the animals and things like
yeah.
that. So
I
I
wonder
think
if
it's
tech could solve the problem, like having some sort of wheeled cart or something. Like
it's
it
gonna look
replace
just like
horses altogether.
now it's gonna look like Jackass.
Yes, I think we found our sport, jackass jousting.
Yeah, I think it's very possible that it could come back. Do I personally think it will? No, just because I think again, yeah, you're not only do you have to take care of the competitors, but you have to take care of the animals themselves too. So I think it does cost a lot, and I think
Yeah.
if they're going to have to find someone or a network or somebody who's willing to foot that bill, but then also to kind of like what we were saying, make it unique in a way where you're gonna want people to come back, because the fact that this one was only on for one season,
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be one of those where it's like, ah, how are you gonna beat one season? Like you got to guarantee that you're at least gonna do like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 seasons with what you have going on. Like that, as an investor or someone, like if someone came to me and was like, hey, I want to bring back Full Metal Jousting based on the show that it was, I'd be like, all right, yeah, but I want a 5-year plan. Like I want a 5
Yeah.
seasons. Like how are you going to beat the last season, and how are you going to bring in viewers to this show? That's just me personally. But yeah.
I agree, and I think you putting yourself in a executive, like network executive role is a really cool idea. A lot of shows are made on streaming platforms now, and there's like
Yeah.
Beast Games that is being put on Amazon
Oh,
Prime.
yeah.
Like, how do you compete with that as a jousting show? There's no way.
Yeah, and maybe that's almost okay. But before I ask you this question, I guess for you, how would you, or what would you say as far as like, do you think could come back?
Not in this format. I think the Jackass idea has a little bit more footing, and if we could somehow like make this a frat bro version where they're able to like hoverboard in at each other and try to beer pong on each other before the other one does. I think that might have a little bit more footing, but then we're getting back into reality TV versus like a competition.
And I think that's where the struggle is, because like this, you're taking a very traditional sport, and I get where they're going, where it's like, this is what it was like, and let's keep it like this. Let's stay true to the actual sport. And I envy that. That should
Yeah,
be done. But I also think we live in a time where people don't want to see that. People want to see, like something grand. And I think, and as weird as this may sound, and this is what I was going to say before I asked you the question, was I think they almost have to dumb it down. Like
yes.
how would a TikTok person make jousting interesting, or like how to influencer make jousting interesting, and then that's just how you have to kind of go about it. I don't know.
Well, that's a great point because that's how Netflix is actually making all of their shows. Is it's supposed to be a second screen show. So that means that you're either working or you're studying or you have like
Yes.
your phone up and the show's on in the background. This would have to be dumbed way down as far as like hit horse bad, hit guy good.
Yes, yes.
Because it was at least a 2-minute segment with the guy explaining the rules in the first episode.
Yeah, yeah, and that was, and I can't remember. It was some interview that I saw about someone making movies now. Was like, why are movies like terrible? And it's because
Yeah.
people's attention span is just like, it's not there. You're dealing with an audience member that is glued to their phone, and like you have to keep them interested, and that you have to explain every little thing that's going on in the movie. Whereas like movies back in the day, you didn't really have to do that. I'm not saying all movies nowadays that's how it is, but a majority of like why movies like aren't as good as they used to be is because like, yeah, it's it's just people's attention span. Like it,
Yeah.
it's the whole doom scrolling thing. And now we're getting way off topic from jousting, but yeah, I don't know. It definitely would be something where you have to think outside the box with this one. But I do think it's cool that they tried to stay as true to the actual sport as they did.
I do too. And, you know, credit to History Channel for actually making this like a historical, as historical as they did. Like that was really cool.
Now again, if you had this show like on Comedy Central or something like that, then I think you're onto something with like, all right, instead of horses, we're using four-wheelers, and stuff like that, where it's like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, it's kind of quirky, it's kind of whatever. I think depending on which network would pick it up would depend on, because like kind of like what you'd said, the History Channel, they're not gonna have them on four-wheelers.
Yeah.
But if you had it like MTV or some weird show like that, Spike TV is not a thing anymore, but
I'm a millennial. I remember Spike TV fondly.
Weird network, but yeah.
Yep.
I think, yeah, depending on the network, then you could change it up. So
Yeah, exactly. Like I think there's a reason why the sport died out, 500 years ago. I think it's cool. Can you believe that 450-ish years ago, that's when King Henry II died.
that's
And
crazy.
we're still doing a sport from that era.
I mean, that's pretty cool. If you think about it, that's really cool.
Yeah. Now that said, like with it being popular, yeah, there's going to be some people that keep that alive. I think that's kind of the same as like, I don't know, when you go to any of the historical reenactment stuff, whether that's Revolutionary War or whatever. It's cool seeing that there's small niche groups that just keep that tradition rolling.
Yeah. No, that it is. And I'm going to try to find some more sports things that we can talk about as far as like for this month, maybe kind of like this as well. We're going to cover roller derby because that's an interesting one, but I'm
Nice.
wondering if there's any other kind of weird sport like this. Now that you say that, like, can you think of any other odd sports that are kind of like jousting, that are kind of like,
Yeah. Have you covered the Highland Games?
No, what is that?
Oh, you're gonna love it so much, man. Like, it's literally, imagine like a Highland Scotsman, full kilt, like throwing a giant telephone pole, or seeing how far you can throw a rock. Like it's strongman competitions, but it's also like about accuracy and speed. It's really cool. You should check it out.
Maybe we can do that. All right, so what I'm thinking for, because usually at the end of the month, we have a live fishbowl episode where I stick a bunch of random topics in a fishbowl. I spin a wheel, and whatever it lands on, we talk about it. I will see if there's enough information to do an episode on the Highlander games? I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
But
they
if
air it
not,
on ESPN every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, okay. Then there might be enough information there then, because there was only 38 days of an episode on Full Metal Jousting, and we've talked about it for almost an hour now. So I think we could do an episode on that. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. I'll see if I can make something work on that.
Looking at this, it's been going on since like early thousands, like 1031 is one of the dates here that is referenced.
Jeez. So, okay. I think
yeah,
we got about 1,000 years of information. I think we're good.
Exactly. Yeah, if you ever see a Scotsman with a telephone pole, it's probably time to get out of there. Like,
run away.
Well, sweet, awesome. Man. This has been really fun talking about jousting, and I'm glad that I got to share that little story about childhood and how I got into this.
No, I really do appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and us talking about it, because this was definitely one of those things where when I saw it, I was like, I want to talk about this and just see what other information there is, and just it's very interesting. And I'm glad you stopped by. I'm glad you threw some cool information about, like, again, someone like one of the kings, King Henry II.
Yep, of France.
Yep, of France, dying from yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk with me.
Yeah, man, this has been a lot of fun. If you ever need another guest to talk about jousting again, I'm happy to come back for a sequel.
I don't know if there's going to be anything else.
I think we covered it, honestly.
Unless they make a season 2. I don't know if we have anything else, but yeah, awesome.
Man, this has been a blast. It's been really fun talking with you. You're very easy to talk to, and I love listening to your show and hearing about all the effing weird stuff out there. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
And that wraps up another episode of That's Effing Weird. If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to follow, rate, and share the show with someone who loves the strange, the unexplained, just as much as you. You can keep up with all the things weird by following us on social media. We have Instagram, Facebook, Discord, and soon to be Patreon, where we share our clips, updates, and even more bizarre content between episodes. Got a topic you want us to cover, or a weird story of your own? Reach out to us and be a part of the conversation. We're always looking for the next strange thing to dive into. And just remember, we don't want stuff that's normal. We want stuff that's effing weird.
Silence. Dust. Dust.